Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Van Gogh here with my beautiful smile. Hello, hello. Ready for a new day. So that's where our tent was last night. This was our campsite. We had a good night. Riley has been resting patiently. Mr. Riley, good morning. How are you, buddy? Resting patiently while I get everything ready. Let me get this on my head. Today is Sunday, July 28th, day number 87 of Riley and my hike on the Appalachian Trail in 2024. We are in the state of Pennsylvania, starting the day at mile number 12, approximately 1209 of 2,197.4 total miles. And come on, buddy, big guy. Sniff, sniff, sniff. And we're about 9.5 miles south of the town of Port Clinton, which is a very small town. I believe it's like a railroad town, maybe a coal mining town, or maybe used to be a coal mining town, or used to be a railroad town. I know when I visited there last time in 2018, they had when you first get in there, you see some railroad tracks and kind of like a big railroad station. Yeah, so this is our campsite. Pretty nice campsite. But to get here, we had to come down this trail called the Sand Spring Trail. Yeah, I think we go this way. The Sand Spring Trail, which is a side trail off of the AT. And we had to walk about 200 yards, or about 0.2 of a mile. Aha, yes, we need to go this way. Right, this way. And it was not super easy. Like, this stretch of the trail is fine, but it's pretty rocky. So a little bit harder than I like for a side trail off the AT that leads to a campsite to be. And then this is another side trail. This is called the Tom Low Trail. This is the end of the Tom Low Trail. I've never heard of the Tom Low Trail. Riley. Okay. But yeah, this is something called the Tom Low Trail. This leads into the Sand Spring Trail, which leads into the AT. It says 100 yards here. I think it's more like 200 yards. Riley is getting his morning bowel movement in. So that's an update for today. I think we're getting off to about our typical start for the day. That's where the sun is. It's pretty high in the sky, so I'm guessing it's close to 11 o'clock. I don't know. So I'm gonna clean this up and we'll check in later. All right, bye for now. So this is, we're still in the Sand Spring Trail getting back to the AT. It doesn't look I'm sure it doesn't look very rocky on camera. But the thing is, it's just not an even trail. It's not like, you can see that it goes up and down. And this just makes walking on it challenging. It's not challenging if you're like fresh and have fresh legs. But when you're tired like me, just exhausted from all the hiking we've been doing, and I guess I should say tired like Riley. Riley, hold up, dude. See, the leash is like around my waist, and then it goes around the back of my legs. Now he's pulling this way, and I'm just feeling the force in the back of my legs. And that can be a little annoying. But it's okay. It's just a little pull. Nothing to get too upset about. Anyway, so we are back on the AT now. Yeah, and I was saying, basically I'm just feeling exhausted. I'm just feeling tired. The hike is wearing on me. I've been saying that a lot. I'm sure I was saying that like after the first 150 miles or so, that the hike was wearing on me. I know I said it like, I think in the first 2 weeks, like I've been out here 13 days and the hike is wearing on me. And now I've been out here 86 days already. It's day number 87 and the hike is wearing on me. I feel like I have these thoughts more commonly in the morning when we're just starting the day, and then I'm always in a better mood in the evening. Definitely had a good night's sleep last night. Slept like a baby. Had a good dinner last night. I packed out 2 cans that I was able to get from a food pantry, or one of the food pantries in Duncannon. Packed out 1 can of condensed vegetable soup and 1 can of green beans, and I've been carrying them with me ever since Duncannon. And last night I decided to eat the can of vegetable soup, and so I mixed it with a can of water, and then I noticed it wasn't very salty flavored. Didn't have much of a salty flavor to it. It did have like some potatoes and mixed vegetables and pasta, along with like a tomato kind of base to it. But to give it some more salty flavor, I added some of my cheddar broccoli soup mix that I have. And then because it was so watery, I mixed in some instant mashed potatoes. And that gave it much of a better flavor, more appetizing flavor. And then I had that with some slices of my whole wheat bread that I got at the 7-Eleven in Duncannon, and I coated the bread with peanut butter and was having the sliced bread with peanut butter along with my instant mashed potato vegetable soup mix, along with the cheddar broccoli flavor. And it was so delicious. I was super hungry last night, and it was very delicious. I really enjoyed it. Got to do a little bit of reading last night, and then eventually I just dozed off and fell asleep. And now it's a new day. I was thinking this morning about how I'm definitely getting, just dragging in the grass. I was thinking this morning about how I'm feeling exhausted and tired, and reminding myself that this is what I want to do. Like when I was not hiking, before I was able to get on the trail, and I was going about my regular life when I was living in Philadelphia, how I would just dream, like, I want to be hiking the Appalachian Trail. That's all I want to do. And now I'm doing it. Riley and I are doing it. We're living our dream. And it's so easy to forget that when you're going through putting in all the work that you need to do to to actually hike the trail. It's so easy to forget how much you want to be out here and how much you wanted to be out here before you were actually out here. So I was just thinking about that earlier. And I definitely want to be out here. I'm definitely glad I'm out here. But nevertheless, I'm also very tired. It feels kind of warm, which is not surprising because the day is fully into itself now. It's not early morning anymore. But at least it hasn't been like super hot. It's been a while since it felt like really hot during the middle of the day. Now it's just warm during the middle of the day. Riley, hold up, buddy. And at night, it's definitely cooling down. Past few nights I've gotten my liner and my sleeping bag. And last night I didn't even take off my pants. I kept my hiking clothes on, got my liner and my sleeping bag to keep warm, and I was warm, but I wasn't overly warm. On other nights, I've just gotten in my sleeping bag without my liner, and on some nights I felt too warm even in just my sleeping bag. But the past couple nights I've been very comfortable to get in both my liner and my sleeping bag to keep warm. And this is just the beginning. It is going to get cooler as we continue to get farther on into summer and then eventually out of summer, and we continue to get closer to Vermont and New Hampshire and Maine. It is going to continue to get cooler, and then at some point it's going to be downright cold downright cold in the night, and we're going to be shivering, and I'm going to need to get my warm puffy jacket again, and I might even need to get my warmer sleeping bag sent to me at some point, or possibly just get like a second sleeping bag liner. I think a second sleeping bag liner would be a good option, because that would be very lightweight and it wouldn't take up a lot of space in my pack. But if I need to get my my warmer sleeping bag, then that'll be what I have to do. But not a decision that I have to make today, but something to think about as we get further north and further closer to the end of August and into September and eventually October. Mr. Riley, you're doing good today. Doing well. So I have a little over 2 liters of water on me, and I think I'm gonna try to the only good water source between here and Fort Clinton is at the next shelter, which is like 7/10 of a mile from from the Sand Spring Trail that we just came from. But to get the water, you have to go like 2/10 of a mile onto the side trail towards the shelter. And I think the 2 liters that we have on me, I think that's going to be enough to get us to Port Clinton. I'll just try to limit my water intake until, just limit my water intake and leave it for Riley if he needs it, until we get close enough that I'm sure until I'm absolutely positive that we have plenty of water. But I think the 2 liters that we have in me will be enough so that we don't need to hike extra into the shelter and then out. And plus it'll keep my pack a little bit lighter. I said last night before going to bed that we might stop in Port Clinton at the hotel to get some food, because I remember from my previous trip they have several options there, but they do have a basket of fries which I think is like a really big portion of fries. And that would definitely be fun to eat. And I also said I might get some candy at the peanut shop. I still might do all this, but I'm also having second thoughts. For the simple reason that I'm still carrying this bag. Now the bag is definitely getting lighter, but it just seems like if I'm carrying a bag, like an overflow bag of stuff that I'm having trouble fitting into my pack, I shouldn't be buying anything extra until I'm like, until my pack is lighter than what it is now and contains less stuff. So I'll see. We had the day to think about it, but those are my options. Either get stuff or don't get stuff. And I have the whole hike until Portland to think about it. So Riley and I are taking a little break right now. It's about 2 o'clock, and we're about 2.7 miles from Port Clinton. We've done about 6.8 miles on the day, and the sum of those two is 9.5, which makes sense because we were 9.5 away from Port Clinton when we started. Riley's back there getting a little nap in, and I'm sitting right here, and I just saw this really cool creature. I'm not sure if it's possible to see in the camera here. Yeah, so there's this little, you probably can't even tell, it just looks like a shadow in the camera. There's this little thing right here, and it's just sticking up like that. That is a living organism there. It literally, it's standing on just one part of its body, and when it moves, it just puts its head down. Like it'll put its head down right here, or somewhere in front, and then it'll just like it's like it's this are its legs and these are its hands, and it doesn't have any legs in the middle of its body. There you go. There you go. Now it's moving. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Isn't that cool? I never was aware such an organism existed. It's kind of like a worm, but it's definitely not a worm. Now it's on the leaf. Isn't that cool? So all right, so just wanted to share that. This way, right. Port Clinton, here we are. This is the railroad part. We're heading into the town part shortly. Come on, Riley. All right, so good evening. Van Gogh here. I got my camera on my head, and Riley is clearly in front of me, sniffing away. So it is evening time now. Just want to give a little update since the last time we checked in. Riley's doing fine. I think he's getting tired. I think he'll be ready to camp soon. It's a little past 7 p.m. Riley, you ready, man? There you go, buddy. So the day started off with us walking back on that Blue Blaze side trail, the Sand Spring Trail, and we got back to the AT. Then we hiked 7/10 of a mile, and we got to the side trail that led into Eagle's Nest Shelter. And Gravy was there. Gravy's the 70-year-old hiker that I mentioned yesterday, maybe previous videos. We've been crisscrossing the past couple days, and he actually stopped to camp yesterday around probably about 5 miles or so south of where we were, near where that Fort Dietrich Snyder monument was. But he got off to an earlier start than we did today, and so he had already passed us by the time we even got started. So I stopped to chat with him for a little bit, and Riley is just not in the go spirit right now. Even though, look at this beautiful trail. It's like just so flat and unrocky. It's just awesome. It's like so easy to hike this, Riley. Yeah, so as we were chatting, a couple hikers actually came up the side trail from the shelter. All right, I'm gonna walk this way, Riley. And their names were Reset and Sweet Talk, guy and a girl. They are apparently dating. And they're going northbound, and they were also, I had met Reset previously. He actually stayed, as well as his girlfriend, stayed at the 501 shelter the night that Riley and I were there. Anyway, so they came out and they started hiking north, so that gave Riley excellent motivation to continue hiking. And so we actually made really good progress this morning, because Riley, we had the two hikers, Reset and Sweet Talk, as well as Gravy, who was behind us and then caught up to us. All three of those gave Riley excellent motivation to hike, and we made good progress in the morning. Riley got a very good workout in, and then we eventually stopped to take a break, and all three of those hikers passed us while we stopped to take a break. But then we got going again, and a few miles south of Port Clinton, Scorp caught up to us. Scorp is a guy that I had mentioned last week, I guess. We were hiking with him. We started hiking with him like between sometime after Harper's Ferry, and then up to Boiling Springs. But we haven't seen him since Boiling Springs, and apparently he took a 0 in Duncannon, and so that's how Riley and I got ahead of him. But he caught up to us today, and so we hiked with him down until Boiling Springs. We're going pretty slowly right now, but that's okay. I'm just gonna go at Riley's pace here. And the trail literally, it goes into Boiling Springs, and then it just goes in there for like 1 block, and then it cuts out onto the other side, and you have to go underneath the bridge and Scorp had no need to go in to do anything in the town. There's not much there, but he had no need to stop at the peanut shop or stop at the hotel. No reason to go in, so he just hiked on. And I was thinking I would stop at the peanut shop and just at least look around, but I decided to just hike on. Scorp was right there. He was hiking on, and I just figured it would be a great way to save some time by continuing on with our hike, and basically put the time into our hiking day rather than into doing stuff in the town that we didn't actually need to do. I have plenty of food on me. I don't need any more food. I was not starving, so I didn't really need to get any food at the hotel restaurant. The peanut shop would absolutely have been cool to see, but I've already seen it, and I don't need any candy. And I'm pretty pleased with our decision to just hike on, because it's allowing Riley and I to get a decent day in terms of our mileage, but also be able to stop at a reasonable time. So at this point, we're approaching so by the way, Scorp has already found his camping spot for the night, so he's a few miles behind us right now, just enjoying the evening at his camping spot. And we are currently approaching Windsor Furnace Shelter, and I think we're like probably a little bit less than a mile from it. And there's a creek called, I think it's Windsor Furnace Creek, or just Furnace Creek, 0.2 of a mile south of the shelter. I currently have a liter on me. I was able to get fill up a little bit a couple miles back, where it was called Pocahontas Spring. That's where Scorp is camping tonight, and there's also spring there. So Riley and I took a good long break there, because he was tired, I was tired, and we were both thirsty. Riley drank a lot and I drank a lot, and I left there with 2 liters of water. And then we took another break after hiking for another 1.5 miles. Mr. Riley, okay, back in business here. So my previous GoPro battery, apparently, I thought it had 100% charge on it, but apparently it didn't, and it ran out of power while I was in mid-sentence, but I just put a new battery in that does have 100% charge on it. And Riley and I have made it to Furnace Creek, and this whole place is actually called Windsor Furnace. There's like a nice green area over there, and there's a couple pretty nice AT signs with some directional information. And this seems to be a popular recreational spot. I've saw a woman walking her dog and a biker coming this way, and 2 teenagers out for a walk who just passed us that way. Yeah, so this is Windsor Furnace. This is our water spot for the night. So I got 4 liters filled up, these two bottles and these 2 bottles. So we are good for water for tonight. And I'm just gonna strap Riley to my waist belt now, which I can put on without putting my pack on, since it's no longer attached to my pack. And then I'm gonna get my pack on. So we are 0.2 of a mile now from Windsor Furnace Shelter. And I think before when I got cut off, I was saying that we took a break about 1 mile back, and I gave Riley some food and water to try to give him some energy for the evening, just the additional evening walking that we're going to be doing. It is just past 8 p.m. now. So we still have some daylight to work with. You ready, Riley? Going this way, Riley. So I checked far out, and the trail continues this way. There's a double white blaze right there, although it's not obvious which direction we're supposed to go in, but I think there's a white blaze there. And apparently that trail connects back up with the AT in like 5.7 miles. So it's like you can kind of do a loop if you want to, along with the AT and that trail. Riley, you're making me go in circles, dude. Yeah, so what else do I have to say? I'm thinking that we will get to the side trail that goes to the shelter pretty shortly, because it's only 0.2 of a mile from here, I believe. And I'm thinking from there we will just continue to hike and basically try to just get the next campsite that we see after that. I know there's some campsites, according to Far Out, there are some campsites not too far away. There's definitely some like less than 4 miles away, so that would involve hiking to about 10 p.m. But I think there's some sooner, and there's usually campsites that are not listed on Far Out, so I'm thinking we'll just look for a campsite. Hopefully Riley doesn't stop too much and slow us down. But yeah, so that's the plan. That's my plan, at least. We've actually already hiked about 15 miles today, and it's only 8 p.m. and it's still light out. So this is like kind of a new feeling. For most of the previous days in recent memory, it's been like 9 p.m. and we've just gotten to like 12 miles on the day, it feels like, around 9 p.m. But we've been able to go a little bit further today. We were helped out with the hikers that were hiking this morning with us to give Riley motivation to hike fast. And that's actually a campsite right there. Well, not really. Someone could set up a small tent there. Yeah, and then we were helped out with a scorp catching up to us, and definitely not going into Port Clinton has saved us a good amount of time. So, all that remains to be seen is where we're gonna spend the night. But fortunately we have some daylight to work with. We're wasting the daylight right now, just standing here. Are we wasting the daylight, Riley? Anyway, but yeah, well, this is the fun part, figuring out where we're gonna spend the night. So Riley and I will work on this, and we will check back in, I guess, once we're in our tent, probably. Oh, by the way, another thing that was notable today, as Riley pops down, is as we were walking into Port Clinton, I got like harpooned by a branch that like I didn't see. It was kind of just sticking out onto the trail, and I didn't expect it to be sticking out, and I wasn't my head was turned somewhere else and I didn't see it. And Riley it didn't bother Riley because it was too high for him. But so Riley went under it, and but it hit me like right in the chest, like right kind of underneath my heart. So like, sorry. So, just a second here. Yeah, so it hit me like right here. Yeah. And fortunately, I had my shirt on, and so that blunted the impact of the branch, like stabbing me in the front part of my body. But it did leave I do have a little like bruise. And I looked at it earlier after taking my shirt off. I'll actually show it. I don't care. So this is what it looks like. It looks more serious than I think it is. It's just a little, yeah, it's just a little bruise. And I think it'll heal fast. It does kind of sting a little bit when I touch it, but definitely a good thing. It would have been definitely worse if I had my shirt pulled up and it just hit bare skin. So definitely thankful that it wasn't worse than it could have been worse than it turned out to be. So that was one thing. And then also after we were hiking out of Port Clinton, we were descending. We had a big climb out of Port Clinton, and then we were doing a little descent, and I lost my balance as we were descending, and I like fell back, and I totally just fell on my back. But my pack totally blunted the fall, so I wasn't hurt at all. Nothing in my pack was damaged as far as I can tell. And so that's a thing to be thankful for, is that if you do have to fall and you can control which way you're falling, as a hiker, it's good to try to fall backwards, so that your pack takes the brunt of the fall, and it basically totally protects your body from any type of injury. So also thankful for my pack. All right, so it's really dark right now. We're not yet in our tent. We just ascended a big climb after Windsor Furnace Shelter, and it turned into kind of a rock scramble, but I think we're at the top right now, and there's something called Pulpit Rock. I'm not sure why it's called Pulpit Rock, I'm curious, but I think that's it right there. I realize it's not possible to see very well at all on camera, but we're just surrounded by a whole bunch of rocks right now, but we're about to descend, and the trail looks a lot easier going forward, so hopefully we can get to a campsite pretty soon. Bye for now. Riley's doing awesome, by the way. Okay. Mr. Riley. Okay, so I was wrong earlier. We were just like in the middle of or just at the end, at the pinnacle of a rock scramble earlier when I announced we were at Pulpit Rock, but we came just a little bit further, and this is Pulpit Rock. It's just a big rock cliff with a wide open view, and unfortunately hardly anything is visible now since it's so dark out. But there are lights off in the distance, and I can see fine. It's just that it doesn't show up well on camera. So this is Pulpit Rock. Very nice. And Riley and I are going to continue on and find our campsite for the night. Hello again. So the day is finally over. Riley and I are safe and sound in our tent now. And it is midnight. Super late. We got to our campsite about probably about 10:30, and then got into our tent about 11, and then I spent some time talking on the phone with someone very important, and just got off the phone a short while ago, and it's like midnight now, so time goes by so fast. But yeah, so the last update I gave, we were just 0.2 south of Windsor Furnace Shelter, and I was talking about how there were several campsites to choose from. We ended up hiking up. So there's a pretty big climb coming out of Windsor Furnace Shelter up to the Pulpit Rock. And I do remember I did take some video of the Pulpit Rock, so that was actually the last video I think that I took. And the trail coming out of Windsor Furnace, it was very, very pleasant, very easy, but then it quickly got pretty rocky, very rocky as we got closer to the Pulpit. And then the trail continued to be very rocky, so it was not an easy hike. And a couple of the far out comments that I'd relied on were not the best. Someone had said that there was a campsite a little bit like 100 yards after the Pulpit Rock, and it turned out that wasn't so there is a place to camp up there, but you're not supposed to camp up there. I was thinking that the campsite that this commenter had mentioned was a legal place to camp, but I think in retrospect that they were just referring to one of the places where you're not supposed to camp. There's a sign up there saying that there's no camping in the area where the Pulpit Rock is. So so we continued on, and then there was another comment saying that there was supposed to be a campsite about a mile south of where we eventually got to, and I didn't see anything that looked like a quality campsite. So anyway, so we continued on, and we made it about 3.7 miles after the shelter. And we're basically, there's a side trail to something called Blue Rocks Family Campground, and just after the side trail there's a opening. It's actually not easy to see, but there's a campsite that is available just after the side trail, and I wasn't able to find it easily. I did rely on some far out comments to help. There were a lot of far out comments that talked about this campsite, and it probably would be easier to see in the daylight, but everything is harder to see at night. So after some searching, I did find it, and Riley and I were able to get our tent set up, or I was able to get our tent set up. The ground here is very soft. And there's nothing like having a tent that needs to be staked into the ground, like basically a trekking pole tent, to make you appreciate how wonderful it is to have soft ground. It's something I'm very appreciative of that I did not care much about before having this type of tent. By the way, when I stop talking, I assume the sound of the crickets is apparent on the video. The crickets are just, they don't bother me at all. It's just like the normal noise. But when you stop and think about it, they are really, really loud, and they just continue and continue and continue. Anyway, so to close out the day here, like I said, we're 3.7 miles after Windsor Furnace Shelter, and we made it about 9 miles or so after Port Clinton. And on the day so far, we actually hiked a total of like 18 point. Let me check real quick. We hiked 18.7 total miles today, which just seems like a lot for us. It is a lot for us. So that means we're getting closer to our goal of getting to Katahdin. I did an updated calculation of how many miles we need to average per day. So there's 79 days left starting tomorrow until October 15th. And we need to average 12.25, so 12.25 miles, based on where we're at currently. When I first started tracking this, we needed to average 13.3 miles, and now it's down to 12.25, given all the times that Riley and I have been able to go over that threshold that I'm tracking. So it's good that it's going down, and I hope that it'll continue to go down, but at the same time I want to mix in some days where we don't try to go over that average too much, so that we can take advantage of some shorter days and try to catch up on rest. So and according to Far Out, we are at mile 1229.6, I believe. Yes, 1229.6 out of 2197.4. But don't let all these numbers that I'm quoting distract from the overall goal. We're trying to get to Katahdin, but the real value of this hike is just in the whole journey, the experience, just being with Riley, getting to spend all the quality time with him, getting to sleep, getting to sleep like a baby every single night and enjoy it, getting to enjoy the food that we eat so much, at such a higher level than what I'm able to enjoy it when I'm not hiking. All those things is what this is about. It's not just about getting to some destination that's at the end of the Appalachian Trail, but the destination is what helps to motivate us each day as we're making progress. So with that, I will say goodnight. Hope everyone is doing well, as always, and we will check in tomorrow.